Hey internet, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the John Graves Show. I'm looking at Resident Evil Revelations 2, and a lot of questions have been coming up. Now, I'm pulling this from the article. The article pretty much points out why Resident Evil Revelations 2 exists when technically nobody asked for a sequel to Resident Evil 6. They never even asked for a fucking spinoff. Like, why is it episodic? Why isn't it on the 3DS? Why in the fuck are we controlling Barry Burton of all people? But from what they answered in the article for people who did actually get their hands on the game, I don't see it as a bad thing. I mean, really, I can see. First off, let me address the question of Revelations 2. Because Revelations 1 was a really good game, balancing out the gameplay of Resident Evil 4 with Resident Evil 5 and 6. Now, I will be honest, Resident Evil 6, it was not a bad game in terms of gameplay, because the gameplay aspect was actually rather good. The reason why that game failed was because, one, it kind of tried to jump through too many hoops a little bit too quickly. And I mean, like, the story went by really quickly. Even if you do have 3 different stories, that stuff ran through rather quickly, and you really didn't get a sense of atmosphere in that game compared to what you had in Resident Evil Revelations. And also that game probably would have been better if they actually had some type of weapon management system other than just everybody has a gun, everybody has a Magnum, everybody has a shotgun, stuff like that. Give us like variations, stuff that we liked in the past 2 games. But I digress. Let me get back into that. Let me get back into Resident Evil Revelations 2. And now the new question is, why is it episodic? And the reason why I can say that it is episodic is for one, to gather, a few reasons. Starting off, it's a good way to actually develop feedback for the game, to see what people like, see what they hated, test out some waters, and see what they should do and shouldn't do for the rest of the chapters, because they're trying to get way more people involved, and the episodic thing, it does actually work, which is a good thing. And really, it's like to develop feedback, to see where they're going with this story. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And if something doesn't work, they could easily change it instead of just making like a whole game and then fucking up somewhere and making people get all pissed off about it. So, of course. And also, number 3, it's a good way to get people out there to kind of say, like, okay, you can ease into this Resident Evil. You don't have to play it all at once. It's cheaper than getting the disc, but it's easier to jump into. So those are like a few reasons. Saying why isn't it on the 3DS? Well, like the last game, or at least for raid mode from the last game, they have been trying to push co-op in Resident Evil ever since 5, because that crazy debacle. And it wasn't necessarily because that they really wanted to have co-op in Resident Evil 5. It was because really the stuff that they did present was a bit controversial, so they kind of had to go and do something else to make people hype about it. And for this game, the co-op actually does seem pretty interesting. Going from Claire to Moira to Barry and this new character, Natalia. And they do honestly kind of talk about, or at least like they do talk about what the second character will actually be doing, since they can't use a gun. Their job will be dedicated to finding, or at least like it's a player-controlled radar. That is what the character is. They have they find items, they find enemies, they let you know when you've been spotted, and then pretty much they can sneak around enemies a lot better than what Claire and Barry can. So it's a very well noted and a very useful feature. However, they did touch on raid mode a little bit and said that because it wasn't co-op, it really wasn't all that interesting. But I'll be fair, raid mode is actually rather fun. Especially like when you have someone with you, even though you are just playing like previous chapters in the level, or at least that's how it was in the first Revelations. It really wasn't all that bad. It was actually pretty. I will say that that it was very money heavy in terms of like actually building up money so that you could play the fucking thing was a problem. But that's kind of like, that's the thing that takes like a lot of time to build up and get your weapons and stuff like that. However, there is a looming thing over the raid mode's head of them saying like that they could throw in microtransactions, which may not be a good thing. That may actually end up fucking that thing over big time. So yeah, it's best to keep an eye on that and make sure that whatever they do, they know that it is the right choice. Whether throwing microtransactions in is a wise choice or just leaving them out. And finally, why Barry Burton? Because Barry's a Resident is a member of fucking Stars, and really from the original, those are the characters in which that we all liked and loved were the Stars members. I mean, sure, Barry may have had his whole thing going on in the first game, but hey, we still like him and love him. So hey, give us way more Barry. I mean, it's actually rather nice to see what has happened to him over all these years. I mean, if anything, I do want to know what happened to Rebecca. Billy Coen, we are never seeing him ever again. So I'm sorry if people out there who are asking for like a Billy Coen game. He isn't fucking coming back. Maybe in the future, but not now. And maybe like another Rebecca game. So yeah, that is what I gotta say about that. I am looking forward to Resident Evil Revelations 2. The game does look rather interesting and fun. It looks a little bit better than what Resident Evil 6 was. Fuck, even better than Resident Evil 5, but that's only because it's sticking with like its night filter, and they are trying to build up the atmosphere better than those two games, and that is something that I will say that they have been doing a good job with. So what do you guys think about this? Sorry that this video is 7 minutes. I'll catch you on the next John Grave show. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games, and tell me what do you think of this topic down there in the comment section, and thank you for looking at my channel. I'll catch you next time. I'm out.